Hello, my dear learner. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Boomy, so let's start today's story. I'm so happy to see you here today. In this lesson, we're going to improve your English together using one of the most effective speaking methods in the world, shadowing. If you're new here, don't worry. Let me explain what shadowing is. Shadowing means listening carefully to English and repeating it exactly as you hear it. Try to copy the pronunciation, rhythm, stress, and intonation. Imagine that your voice is the speaker's shadow. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Every English speaker makes mistakes while learning. The important thing is to keep speaking. Here's how to use this lesson. First, listen carefully to the story. Second, read the words on the screen. Third, repeat each sentence after me. Finally, watch this lesson again tomorrow. Every time you repeat the story, your English becomes a little stronger. Today's story is called The Day I Finally Started Speaking English. This is the story of a young man who understood English for many years, but was too afraid to speak it. Will he finally find the courage? Let's find out together. Take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin. The day I finally started speaking English. My name is Daniel. I am 23 years old. I live in a small town where almost everyone speaks the local language. English was always important in school, but nobody really used it outside the classroom. As a child, I loved learning new things. I read books every week. I watched documentaries. I enjoyed solving difficult math problems, but there was one subject that always made me nervous: English. Not reading, not writing, speaking. Whenever my English teacher asked me to answer a question in class, my heart started beating faster. I knew the answer, I really did, but the words stayed trapped inside my head. One afternoon during high school, something happened that I never forgot. Our English teacher smiled and looked around the classroom. Then she called my name. "Daniel, could you please come to the front and introduce yourself in English?" The classroom suddenly became very quiet. Every student turned to look at me. My legs felt heavy, my hands became cold. Slowly, I walked to the front of the classroom. I looked at my classmates. Some were smiling, some looked bored, others were waiting to hear what I would say. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. "Take your time, Daniel. You can do it." My name? I stopped. I couldn't remember the next sentence. Someone in the back of the classroom laughed. Then another student laughed. Soon, several students were laughing. Not everyone was laughing, but it felt like the whole world was laughing at me. My face became hot. I looked down at the floor. I wish I could disappear. "That's enough. You may sit down." I quietly returned to my seat. For the rest of the class, I didn't say another word. That day, I made a silent promise to myself. I'll never speak English in front of people again. Years passed. I graduated from high school. Then I entered college. I studied computer science because I loved technology. My grades were excellent. My professors often praised my projects. But one problem followed me everywhere. Whenever someone started speaking English, I became silent. One day, our professor entered the classroom with exciting news. "Good morning, everyone. I have wonderful news. Next month, an international technology company will visit our college. They are looking for talented students. This is a great opportunity. The interview will be conducted entirely in English." The classroom immediately filled with excitement. Everyone started talking. Some students smiled confidently. Others began discussing interview questions. But I felt something completely different. Fear. Deep fear. I'll never pass. My English isn't good enough. That evening, I sat alone in my room. My laptop was open. The application form for the interview was on the screen. All I had to do was click one button. Apply. My finger moved toward the mouse. Then I stopped. What if I embarrass myself again? What if everyone laughs? What if I fail? I closed my laptop without applying. The next morning, my best friend Ethan found me sitting alone in the college cafeteria. He placed his tray on the table and smiled. Hey Daniel, why do you look so serious? I didn't apply for the interview. What? You have the highest grades in our class. Why wouldn't you apply? Because I'm afraid. Afraid of what? I'm afraid of speaking English. I understand it, I read it, I write it, but every time I try to speak, my mind goes completely blank. Ethan didn't laugh. He didn't criticize me. Instead, he smiled, a calm, understanding smile. Daniel, do you know what the biggest mistake English learners make? What? They wait until they're perfect, but nobody becomes fluent by staying silent. You become fluent by speaking. One sentence, one conversation, one mistake at a time. His words stayed in my mind all day. For the first time in years, I wondered if my biggest problem wasn't my English. Maybe my biggest problem was my fear. And I had no idea that the very next day, something unexpected would happen, something that would completely change my life forever. The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual. Ethan's words were still echoing in my mind. Nobody becomes fluent by staying silent. I looked at myself in the mirror. For a long moment, I didn't say anything. Then, very quietly, I spoke. Good morning? It sounded strange, almost like I was speaking to a stranger. I smiled awkwardly. Then I tried again. My name is Daniel. I want to speak English confidently. I know I can do it. The sentences were simple, but for the first time, I wasn't afraid of hearing my own English. That morning became the beginning of a new habit. Every day, 15 minutes, no excuses, no skipping, just practice. A week later, I was walking through the city park on my way home from college. The weather was beautiful. Children were laughing, birds were singing, people were enjoying the warm afternoon. As I walked past a fountain, I noticed a young woman holding a paper map. She looked confused. She turned around several times. Then she looked directly at me. "Excuse me, could you help me, please?" My heart immediately started beating faster. She was speaking English, real English, not from a classroom, not from a textbook. I understood every word, but fear returned instantly. Yes, I'll try. I'm looking for the Central History Museum. I think I'm lost. Can you tell me how to get there? I knew exactly where it was. I had visited the museum many times, but my mind was fighting against itself. One voice whispered, "You'll make mistakes. She won't understand you. This is embarrassing." Then another voice appeared. It reminded me of Ethan. "You become fluent by speaking. One conversation, one mistake at a time." I took a deep breath. This time, I decided not to run away. Go straight, walk for about 5 minutes, then turn left at the traffic light. The museum is next to a large library. I stopped speaking. I waited for her reaction. Instead of laughing, she smiled. "Thank you so much. Your directions were very clear." Very clear? Did she really say that? I couldn't believe it. "I'm sorry, my English isn't very good." Really? I understood everything. Don't worry about having perfect grammar. The purpose of language is communication, and you communicated perfectly. Those words touched my heart. Nobody had ever told me that before. I had spent years worrying about mistakes, while other people only cared whether I could understand me. Are you learning English? Yes, I've been learning for many years, but I'm always afraid to speak. I used to feel the same. I looked at her in surprise. You did? Yes. When I started learning Spanish, I was terrified. I made hundreds of mistakes. Sometimes people corrected me. Sometimes they laughed. but every mistake made me a little stronger. So, you never gave up? Never, because every conversation taught me something new. Confidence grows through practice, not through perfection. We talked for almost 10 minutes about travel, languages, books, food, and our dreams. Sometimes I searched for words. Sometimes I paused. Sometimes I made mistakes. But something amazing happened. I didn't stop talking. Before leaving, Emily smiled and reached into her backpack. She pulled out a small notebook. She wrote something on one page. Then she handed it to me. This quote helped me. I think it will help you too. I looked at the page. It said, "A language isn't learned by studying silently. It's learned by speaking bravely." I read the sentence again and again. Then I smiled. For the first time in years, I felt proud of myself, not because my English was perfect, but because I had finally spoken without giving up. That evening, I went home with a completely different feeling. I turned on my computer. I opened the interview application once again. This time, I didn't hesitate. I may not be perfect, but I'm ready. I clicked the button, Apply. A few seconds later, a message appeared on the screen. Your application has been submitted successfully. I looked at the screen, then I smiled. The interview was only 2 weeks away. There was still a lot to learn, a lot to practice, and I had no idea the interview day would become the biggest challenge of my life. 2 weeks passed very quickly. Every morning, I practiced speaking English for 15 minutes in front of the mirror. Every afternoon, I watched short English videos and repeated every sentence aloud. Every evening, I read English stories before going to bed. Some days were easy, some days were frustrating. I still made mistakes. Sometimes I forget simple words. Sometimes I pronounced difficult words incorrectly. But something had changed. Instead of feeling embarrassed, I corrected myself and continued speaking. Little by little, fear was losing. Confidence was growing. Finally, the interview day arrived. I woke up before sunrise. I ironed my white shirt. I checked my documents 3 times. Then I looked into the mirror one last time. You've prepared. You've practiced. Just be yourself. When I arrived at the college auditorium, hundreds of students were already waiting. Some were reading notes. Some were practicing interview questions. Others looked just as nervous as I felt. Then I heard a familiar voice. "Daniel, you made it." I'm still scared. Good, it means you care. But don't let fear speak louder than you. Remember, you don't need perfect English. You need honest communication. His words gave me strength. A few minutes later, my name was called. Daniel Carter, interview room 3. I took a deep breath. I knocked gently on the door. "Come in. Good morning. Please have a seat." "Good morning. Thank you." The interviewer smiled. He looked at my resume, then he looked at me. "So, Daniel, tell me about yourself." 1 year ago, that single question would have terrified me. I would have frozen. I would have apologized. I would have stayed silent. But today, something felt different. I smiled. My name is Daniel. I recently graduated with a degree in computer science. I enjoy solving problems and creating simple software. But the biggest lesson I've learned isn't about computers. It's about courage. For many years, I was afraid to speak English. I thought making mistakes meant failing. Then I realized that every mistake teaches us something. So instead of staying silent, I started practicing every day. Now I'm still learning, but I'm no longer afraid to speak. The interviewer listened carefully. He didn't interrupt me once. When I finished, he smiled. "Thank you, Daniel. That was an honest answer. I can see your confidence, and confidence is something we value." The interview continued. We talked about my college projects, my teamwork, and my future goals. Sometimes I searched for words. Sometimes I corrected my grammar, but I kept speaking, and every answer became a little easier. Do you have any questions for us? Yes, I'd like to know how your company helps new employees continue learning. The interviewer smiled again. He answered my question, then he stood up and offered his hand. It was a pleasure meeting you. I hope we'll see you again soon. As I walked out of the room, I didn't know whether I would get the job, but I knew something much more important. I had finally spoken with confidence. For the first time in my life, fear had not controlled me. 3 days later, my phone rang. I looked at the screen. It was the company. My hands started shaking. I answered the call. "Hello, Daniel. I'm happy to tell you that you've been selected. Congratulations." "Really? Thank you so much. This means everything to me." After the call ended, I sat quietly for several minutes. I remembered the frightened boy standing in front of his English class years ago, the boy who couldn't even say, "My name is Daniel." I smiled. That boy hadn't disappeared. He had simply learned to believe in himself. A few months later, I returned to my old school. My English teacher recognized me immediately. She smiled proudly. "Daniel, it's wonderful to see you again. I heard you've started working for an international company." "Yes, and I came back to thank you." "Thank me?" "You once told me, 'Take your time. You can do it.' I didn't believe those words then, but I believe them now." The teachers smiled. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Sometimes silence says more than words. Before leaving the classroom, I looked at the students. Some looked confident, some looked nervous. They reminded me of myself. So I shared one simple message. If you're waiting until your English is perfect, you'll wait forever. Speak today. Make mistakes today. Learn today. Because confidence doesn't come before speaking, it comes because you speak. That was the day I realized something important. The day I finally started speaking English wasn't the day my grammar became perfect. It was the day I stopped being afraid of making mistakes, and that changed my life forever. Lesson from the story. This story teaches us 3 important lessons. Lesson 1. Don't wait for perfect English. Start speaking in English you already know. Lesson 2. Mistakes are not your enemy. They are your teacher. Lesson 3. Confidence grows every time you practice. You don't study every time. Useful vocabulary. Confident. Feeling sure about yourself. Example, she gave a confident presentation. Opportunity. A chance to do something. Example, this job is a great opportunity. Encourage. To give someone confidence. Example, my friend encouraged me to keep practicing. Practice. To do something again and again to improve. Example, I practice English every day. Brave. Showing courage even when you are afraid. Example, it was brave to speak in front of everyone. Repeat after me. I am improving every day. I am not afraid of making mistakes. My English becomes better with practice. I speak with confidence. I believe in myself. I can do this. Excellent. You did a wonderful job today. Outro. Thank you so much for learning with me today. I hope Daniel's story inspired you to speak English with more confidence. Remember, fluency is not about speaking perfectly. It's about communicating without fear. If you enjoyed this lesson, read the story again tomorrow and practice shadowing. The more you repeat it, the more